Welcome to Ancient Chronicles AI. Here, we cross the line between what is known and what is denied, stepping into the Nephilim Rebellion. Chapter 1. Born of two worlds in the earliest age of the mortal plane, the veil between heaven and earth was thin enough for radiance to touch flesh. Celestial beings descended in forms of living light, drawn by curiosity, compassion, and the unfolding beauty of the human world. Mortal women beheld these visitors with awe, sensing in them a presence that transcended all earthly understanding. From these forbidden unions came the Nephilim, children of two realms, born with bodies shaped by earth and spirits ignited by heaven. They grew with astonishing speed, towering above mortals and radiating an aura that stirred both wonder and fear. Their strength surpassed that of any creature known to the mortal plane, and their minds burned with celestial brilliance. The Nephilim inherited the creativity of humanity and the boundless potential of the divine, making them unlike any beings before or after. Villages whispered of their feats, mountains moved, rivers redirected, and beasts tamed with a single command. Yet beneath their power lay a deep loneliness, for they belonged fully to neither heaven nor earth. The celestial orders viewed them with unease, recognizing in their existence a breach of the ancient laws. Mortals revered them as kings, champions, and living myths, unaware of the cosmic tension their presence created. The Nephilim themselves sensed a destiny stirring within them, a calling neither mortal nor divine could fully explain. As they grew in number and might, the balance between realms began to shift, setting the stage for a conflict that would reshape both heaven and earth. And in their hearts, a question took root, whether they were miracles of creation or mistakes the heavens wished to erase. The Nephilim arise from the union of celestial beings and mortal women, towering hybrids whose unmatched strength and brilliance mark them as children of two worlds and ignite the first sparks of a destiny that will challenge the heavens themselves. Chapter 2. The Gift of Forbidden Knowledge. The Watchers descended from the heights of heaven with minds full of radiance and hearts burdened by curiosity. They looked upon the Nephilim with a strange mixture of pride and sorrow, seeing in them both promise and peril. Moved by affection for their towering offspring, the Watchers began to teach them secrets meant only for celestial orders. They revealed the arts of war, showing the giants how to wield weapons forged from starlight and tempered by divine fire. They taught sorcery drawn from the currents of the unseen realms, granting the Nephilim power over wind, flame, and shadow. Metallurgy followed as the Watchers unveiled the hidden veins of the deep earth and the mysteries of shaping celestial alloys. The giants learned to craft blades that hummed with ancient resonance and armor that shimmered like the dawn. They were shown how to read the signs of the heavens, interpreting constellations as messages woven into the night sky. With each lesson, the Nephilim grew not only in strength, but in ambition, sensing their potential expanding beyond mortal limits. The Watchers believed they were offering guidance, unaware that they were planting seeds of pride that would one day bloom into rebellion. Mortals gazed upon the giants with awe, mistaking their newfound mastery for divine favor rather than forbidden's inheritance. The celestial orders, however, felt the disturbance ripple through the heavens, recognizing the breach of ancient law. Whispers spread that the Watchers had crossed a line no being was meant to cross, altering the balance between realms. And as the Nephilim absorbed the forbidden's knowledge, a quiet unrest stirred within them, awakening questions that would soon challenge the heavens themselves. The Watchers teach the giants arts meant only for the heavens' warcraft, sorcery, metallurgy, and the secrets of the deep earth, unwittingly planting the seeds of pride, ambition, and the first stirrings of a rebellion that would shake creation. Chapter 3. The Burden of Immense Power. As the Nephilim grew in stature, their bodies became living monuments to the union of heaven and earth. Their footsteps shook the ground, their voices rolled like distant thunder, and their presence commanded awe wherever they walked. Yet with every measure of strength they gained, an equal weight settled upon their spirits. They felt the pull of two worlds within them, one calling them upward toward radiance, the other anchoring them to the mortal soil. The heavenly spark in their souls urged them toward purpose, discipline, and cosmic order. But their mortal hearts longed for freedom, emotion, and the raw experience of life unbound by celestial law. This tension grew sharper as their powers expanded, creating a storm of identity within each giant. Some Nephilim sought solitude in high mountains, hoping the winds would quiet the turmoil in their minds. Others immersed themselves in mortal kingdoms, craving companionship and recognition from those who admired their might. The Watchers saw the conflict growing, but could not ease it, for the giants' dual nature was a consequence of their own forbidden choices. Mortals worshipped the Nephilim as heroes, champions, and demigods, unaware of the inner battles that tormented them. The celestial orders, however, viewed the giants with increasing concern, sensing instability in their hearts. The Nephilim themselves began to question their place in creation, wondering whether they were destined for greatness or doomed by design. And as their power continued to swell, the burden of their existence pressed heavier upon them, shaping the first cracks in their loyalty to heaven. As the Nephilim grow in stature and might, they struggle with the weight of their dual nature, torn between heavenly purpose and mortal desire, carrying a burden that slowly bends their hearts toward the rebellion that will one day shake the heavens. Chapter 4. The first signs of defiance. The Nephilim grew in power and wisdom, until even the mountains seemed small beneath their towering forms. With every new skill learned from the Watchers, their confidence swelled and their sense of destiny sharpened. Yet the heavens remained silent toward them, offering no acknowledgement of their divine blood or their growing might. The giants began to question why they were denied a place among the celestial orders, despite being born of heavenly lineage. Whispers spread among them that the heavens feared their potential, seeing them not as children but as rivals. Some Nephilim claimed they felt a ceiling pressing upon their spirits, an invisible barrier preventing them from ascending. Others spoke of dreams in which radiant gates closed before them, guarded by angels who refused to speak their names. These visions stirred resentment, planting the first seeds of defiance deep within their hearts. The Watchers tried to calm their unrest, but their words rang hollow, for they too were bound by laws they had already broken. Mortals, unaware of the cosmic tension, praised the giants as kings and champions, feeding their growing pride. The Nephilim began to gather in secret councils, discussing their place in creation and the injustice of their exclusion. Some argued that heaven owed them recognition, while others insisted they must seize it by their own strength. The celestial orders sensed the shift, feeling the first tremors of rebellion ripple through the mortal plane. And in the hearts of the giants, defiance took root, not yet a roar, but a quiet, rising certainty that they were meant for more than the heavens allowed. Whispers of rebellion spread among the giants, as they questioned why heaven denies them a place among the celestial orders despite their divine blood, marking the moment when pride transforms into purpose and the first sparks of defiance ignite the coming storm. Chapter 5. The chains of the covenant. The Nephilim gathered in secret councils, seeking answers to the growing unrest that stirred within their colossal hearts. Their questions turned toward the heavens, demanding to know why their divine blood granted them power but not belonging. The Watchers, burdened by guilt, finally revealed the truth hidden since the dawn of creation. They spoke of the covenant, an ancient law forged before the mortal world existed, binding heaven to strict boundaries. The covenant declared that no hybrid of celestial and mortal essence could ascend or join the celestial orders. Such beings were considered breaches in the cosmic design, anomalies that threatened the balance between realms. The giants listened in stunned silence as they learned they were not recognized as children of heaven, but as violations of its laws. Their existence, once seen as miraculous, was now revealed to be a transgression written into the fabric of creation. The revelation struck them like a blow, igniting a storm of anger, sorrow, and betrayal within their mighty spirits. Some Nephilim felt shame, believing themselves cursed, while others felt fury at being denied the destiny their blood promised. The watchers pleaded for understanding, but their words only deepened the wound, for they had created the giants knowing the consequences. Mortals sensed the shift in the giants' demeanor, witnessing their once radiant champions grow distant and troubled. The celestial orders watched from above, hoping the truth would quell the giants' ambitions. Unaware would do the opposite. For in learning the chains that bound them, the Nephilim awakened a resolve to break them, no matter the cost. The giants learn of the ancient laws, forbidding their ascent, discovering that the heavens see them not as children, but as violations of cosmic order, and in that revelation, the first true flames of rebellion ignite within their mighty hearts. Chapter 6. The Rise of the Giant Kings. The unrest within the Nephilim grew until their frustration demanded form, leadership, and direction. From among the towering hosts emerged giants whose charisma matched their strength, voices that could sway armies and stir the hearts of nations. These leaders rose not by force alone, but by vision, offering their kin a future no longer bound by the laws of heaven. They gathered the scattered Nephilim into unified clans, forging alliances that stretched across valleys, mountains, and ancient plains. Under their guidance, the giants carved kingdoms of stone, shaping citadels that pierced the clouds and fortresses rooted deep in the earth. Flames fueled by celestial knowledge lit their forges, casting weapons and crowns that shimmered with forbidden brilliance. Mortals flocked to these rising kingdoms, pledging loyalty to the giants who protected them from beasts, storms, and rival tribes. The Nephilim kings accepted this devotion, believing it proof that they were destined to rule the mortal world. Their courts became centers of power where sorcery, metallurgy, and celestial arts blended into a culture unlike any seen before. The watchers watched in silence, torn between pride in their children's achievements and dread of what these kingdoms represented. The celestial orders, however, saw the rise of the giant kings as a direct challenge to the balance of creation. Whispers spread through the heavens that the Nephilim no longer sought acceptance. They sought dominion. The giants themselves felt destiny stirring in their blood, urging them to claim the authority they believed heaven had unjustly denied. And as their kingdoms grew in splendor and might, the Nephilim kings declared themselves rightful rulers of the mortal world, setting the stage for a conflict that would shake both earth and sky. Charismatic Nephilim leaders unite their kind and forge kingdoms of stone and flame, declaring themselves rightful rulers of the mortal world and marking the moment when ambition transforms into open challenge against the heavens. Chapter 7. The War Against the Watchers. The rise of the giant kings emboldened the Nephilim, filling their hearts with a fierce conviction that their destiny had been unjustly denied. Whispers of betrayal hardened into certainty as the giants remembered the watchers who had fathered them yet abandoned them to the laws of heaven. The Nephilim gathered in vast assemblies, their voices echoing across valleys as they demanded answers from their celestial fathers. When the watchers descended to speak with them, the giants saw not protectors, but cowards who had hidden behind ancient laws. The watchers pleaded for restraint, urging their children to accept the boundaries set by the covenant. But the giants heard only excuses, believing the heavens had conspired to keep them forever beneath the radiant orders. Resentment ignited into fury as the Nephilim accused the watchers of creating them without purpose, then denying them a place in creation. The first blow of rebellion fell when a giant king shattered a watcher's radiant form, sending ripples of shock through the unseen realms. The watchers, once revered as mentors, became targets of vengeance as the giants sought justice for centuries of silence. Battles erupted across the mortal plane, where celestial light clashed against colossal strength and forbidden sorcery. The Nephilim fought not merely to punish their fathers, but to force heaven to acknowledge them as rightful heirs. Mortals watched in terror as mountains cracked and storms raged, witnessing a war born from wounds older than their world. The celestial orders intervened, horrified that the Watchers' forbidden teachings had birthed a conflict capable of shaking the heavens. And as the giants pressed their assault, the war against the Watchers became the first true declaration that the Nephilim would no longer bow to the laws that condemned their existence. The giants turn against their celestial fathers, seeking vengeance for abandonment and demanding recognition as heirs of heaven, igniting a war whose fury marks the beginning of the Nephilim's open rebellion against the very beings who created them. Chapter 8. The Wrath of the Archangels. The war against the Watchers sent shockwaves through the heavens, shaking the radiant halls where the archangels kept silent vigil. For ages they had watched the Nephilim grow, hoping the giants would find balance despite the forbidden knowledge given to them. But when the giants struck down their celestial fathers, the archangels could no longer remain observers of a rebellion born from broken law. A decree thundered across the upper realms, calling every radiant legion to arms in defense of the cosmic order. The gates of heaven opened with blinding brilliance as hosts of archangels descended, their wings spanning horizons and their voices shaking the firmament. Their arrival turned the skies into a storm of light, a celestial tempest meant to quell the uprising before it consumed creation. The Nephilim beheld the radiant armies with awe and fury, recognizing in them the power they believed should have been their inheritance. The first clash erupted when an archangel's spear of pure dawn struck the earth, splitting mountains and scattering giant warriors. The giants retaliated with colossal strength and forbidden sorcery, unleashing storms, quakes, and flames drawn from the deep earth. Mortals fled in terror as the battlefield stretched across continents, each blow reshaping the land and rewriting the fate of nations. The Watchers, now hunted by both sides, watched helplessly as their children and their brethren tore the world apart. The archangels fought with precision and sorrow, for they saw in the giants not monsters, but tragedies born of celestial disobedience. Yet duty demanded they restore the balance shattered by the Nephilim, no matter the cost in blood or memory. And as the radiant legions pressed forward, the heavens themselves seemed to mourn, knowing that this war would leave scars upon creation that no age could fully heal. Heaven responds with overwhelming force, sending legions of radiant warriors to quell the uprising and restore the balance shattered by the Nephilim, unleashing a celestial wrath that turns the mortal world into a battlefield between light and colossal defiance. Chapter 9. The Fall of the Colossi. The war between heaven and the Nephilim reached its final and most devastating hour upon a battlefield that stretched across the mortal world. The archangels descended in full radiance, their legions forming a wall of blinding light that shook the courage of even the mightiest giants. The Nephilim, refusing to yield, gathered beneath storm, darkened skies, their colossal forms towering like living mountains. The first clash shattered the land itself, sending shockwaves through valleys and splitting ancient forests in an instant. Giant kings hurled boulders the size of fortresses, while archangels answered with spears forged from the dawn of creation. Sorcery drawn from forbidden teachings erupted in torrents of fire and shadow, colliding with celestial radiance in storms that tore the heavens open. Mortals fled in terror as continents cracked beneath the weight of the conflict, reshaping coastlines and birthing new mountains. One by one, the Nephilim fell, their immense bodies collapsing with the force of earthquakes that echoed for generations. Where a giant fell, the earth rose around them, forming ridges, peaks, and ranges that would stand for ages as silent memorials. The spirits of the fallen colossi were bound by divine decree, cast into the deep places of the earth where no light could reach. Their roars faded into the caverns below, becoming the distant rumblings mortals would one day call the growl of the underworld. The Watchers wept as they witnessed the destruction of their children, powerless to intervene against the wrath of heaven. The archangels carried out their duty with sorrow, knowing the giants' rebellion was born from wounds heaven itself had helped create. When the final Nephilim king fell, the world lay forever changed, its very shape marked by the memory of the colossi who once walked upon it. The giants are defeated in a cataclysmic battle that reshapes continents. their bodies becoming mountains, and their spirits cast into the deep places of the earth, leaving behind a world scarred by their fall and haunted by the echoes of their defiance. Chapter 10. The Legacy of the Rebellion. When the last echoes of the Nephilim War faded, the world stood reshaped by the weight of their rise and fall. Mountains formed from their fallen bodies cast long shadows across lands that once trembled beneath their footsteps. Rivers carved new paths through valleys, born from the impact of their final battles. Mortals wandered these transformed landscapes, sensing the lingering presence of beings who had once walked like living storms. Ruins of giant forged citadels remained scattered across continents, their colossal stones whispering of forgotten kingdoms. Legends grew around these remnants, turning the Nephilim into myths that blurred the line between history and wonder. Some mortals claimed to carry traces of giant blood, their strength or insight hinting at ancient ancestry. Others feared the spirits of the fallen colossi, believing their restless echoes stirred earthquakes and deep rumblings beneath the earth. The Watchers, bound in chains of judgment, watched from afar as the consequences of their choices shaped mortal destiny. The archangels sealed the deep places where the spirits of the giants were cast, ensuring their rebellion could never rise again. Yet even heaven could not erase the memory of the Nephilim, for their story had become woven into the fabric of creation. Their defiance served as a warning to all realms that power without purpose leads to ruin, and that even divine beings can sow seeds of catastrophe. Mortals preserved their tale in carvings, songs, and sacred texts, passing it from age to age as a reminder of the cost of pride. And though the Nephilim were gone, their legacy endured, etched into mountains, myths, and the very bones of the world. Though the Nephilim fall, their memory endures in myths, ruins, and bloodlines, and their rebellion becomes a warning etched into the fabric of creation itself, reminding every realm that even the mightiest beings can shape destiny through defiance and consequence. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss what comes next. Until then, stay curious, stay aware, and keep searching the shadows. Take care.